we're looking at the poem The Echoing Dream by William Clay. And overall, I was really excited because you all did pretty good on the pre-test. Now, if y'all remember, there were 2 extended response questions at the very end. And some of those we could have better answers on. So hopefully that what we'll learn today will be applied to those when we take the test again. So, analyzing poetry, we're going to talk about the SIFT method today. Which the SIFT method you can use to analyze any kind of literature, but specifically it's really helpful for poetry. So if you all have your little packets, you've got a little graphic organizer here so you can be taking notes while we're going over the method. So first at the top, for the SIFT method, instead of trying to figure out what a poem means all at once, we read it several times looking for one thing at a time. So it's kind of overwhelming if you look at a poem and you have all these questions and you don't know what to look for. So that's why we're going to break it down into parts and then talk about one thing at a time. So first, we're going to read the poem. Can I have a volunteer to read the first stanza? Please. Go ahead, back there.
The sun does arise and make happy the skies. The merry bells ring to welcome the spring. The skylark and thrush, the birds of the bush, sing louder around to the bells' cheerful sound, while our sports shall be seen on the echoing green.
Okay, good. Somebody else want to do the second stanza?
Old John with white hair does laugh away care, sitting under the oak among the old clay. They laugh at our play, as they all say, such were the joys when we were all girls and boys. In our youth time we're singing on the community.
Okay, good. And then last stanza here. Can I get a volunteer for that? How about you?
Till the little ones weary, no more can be merry. The sun doth descend, and our sports have an end. Run the laps of their mothers, many sisters and brothers, like birds in their nest, are ready for rest, and sport no more seen on the darkening green.
Okay, good. So just reading the poem the first time, we can kind of have a general idea of maybe what's it about. But in poetry analysis, you really have to look for specific things. So we're going to have to go back and look at different things in the poem. So that's where we're going to start using our SIFT method. So in the SIFT method, we've got SIFT, and they each stand for a different thing. So we're going to start out with S here. And S stands for symbols. So you can see here, I filled out a graphic organizer and I just wrote it out next to the S, what it was. So symbols are tangible objects that represent intangible ideas. So just to make sure everybody's on the same page right now, what is tangible versus intangible? Does somebody want to explain that? Do you have any ideas? Okay.
Could tangible mean like it's there, it's not like a vision?
Yeah, tangible is something real. So it's something that you can touch, something you can feel, something that's real life. So intangible, what would that be then? Yeah?
Would it be like a thought, maybe?
Yeah, it would be like a thought or an idea. So we talk about symbols representing something. So it just means that it's using something real to represent a more abstract idea. Okay, so symbol sifting. To look for symbols, we're going to just look out for possible symbols in the poem. Because right now, some poems, you have symbols that are really easy to pick, and some of them, they're more harder to find. Because you read it and then you realize, oh, I didn't realize that was a symbol. I thought that it was literal. So we're going to check out the title, and we're going to check out the objects, and then we'll look at what they might mean later. So first you have practice. So you've got a little section on your graphic organizer. And the practice is to locate and write down all the tangible objects in the poem. So if you want to, your packets are stapled together. If you want to tear them apart so that way you can put the piece of paper right next to the poem so you can look at them at the same time, that's fine. So in that little box there on your graphic organizer, I'm going to give you a minute and you're just going to write down all the tangible objects that you think, and then we'll come back together and we'll discuss it. We're looking for real objects, real things. Okay, so we have a question back here, and it says, is sports tangible or intangible? Can anybody answer that? Do I think they know? Are sports a real thing? Like sports? Yes. I would say they're tangible. Okay, so let's just start. Y'all don't have to raise your hands. Just start naming out some things that you have listed there. Don't raise your hands. Just start naming them out.
Mary Bell.
Bush.
Bells, bush,
Sun,
sun.
John.
Okay. Perfect. You all found a lot in there, which there is a lot in the poem. So, just a question: did anybody write echoing green as a tangible object? Okay, good. Does anybody know what the echoing green is? Not what it's a metaphor for, because we'll look at that later. What it actually is. Yeah.
Is it a soccer field?
Is it a what?
A soccer field.
A soccer field. That's a good idea. Do we have any other ideas here? What do you think?
Oh, I thought it could just be like a field at a park.
A field or a park? That's perfect. That's exactly what I had thought when I read the poem, was that it was a park. And so, you hear the phrase echoing green, and that's going to sound really abstract because it's in a poem, but it's really simple because it's just a park. So good. Okay, we're going to move on to the next one now. So, after we looked at S, we'll look at I. So, I is for images. So, images are not just what you see, they're all 5 senses. So, we have the senses listed there. So, this is when you're writing. I know that you've probably heard to include sensory details in your writing. So, that's where you want to appeal to the things that you see, the things that you hear, the things that you touch, taste, smell. So, on here we've got image sifting. You're wanting to look for big, detailed pictures and think about, are they similar or diverse? So, in this poem, we have 3 stanzas, and I would say that the sensory details, or the images, in the first stanza are different than the second and different than the third. So, we're going to look for color, sound, sense, textures, and feelings. So for the practice for this one, everybody's gonna choose one stanza, and you're gonna write a word or a phrase description for each of the 5 senses. Now I said each of the 5 senses, but I'll be honest, I did this. In this poem, I could not find anything for taste. But on this poetry, when you analyze poetry, it's a lot of critical thinking, but it's also creative thinking. So you have to be creative when you do this. So you have to really think, like when you're reading the poem. Is there a smell to this poem? I came up with some things for it, so you'll probably be able to come up with some things too. So go ahead and work on that for a minute.